Welcome to the Steve Reeve Podcast with the best moments from the past week and a few things that didn't make it to air. Tuesday.
I've now reached the point of aging where sleeping on something wrong, it can just happen now. I mean, at any time, that's nothing really new. But now I've reached the point it's no longer just a part of the day affliction, and now can last several days. So much fun. Crunch time for costumes and plans, and time to crunch on some candies as well. But poll finds 2,000 people responded to a study. Families eat through Halloween candy supply twice before Halloween on average. We have found out. Some cop to replacing their stores 3 or more times. Just to, take a second here, become an old man on a soapbox. We weren't allowed to eat the shell-out candy at all growing up. That was not a possibility, I'm sure my folks took their tax, and rightly so, because us kids weren't even paying for the stuff, but that candy was earmarked. Like, that was for the kids who would come to our door, not us kids stepping out of our door to go to other people. Full stop. The whole deal was that we kids had to earn our candy on the streets, aka by trick-or-treating. We'd get more fun-sized candy at school the week before Halloween than my parents would let us get into at home all October, which is why I aimed to fill a pillowcase at least before turning in the towel each year when I was that young. And then, guarding the stash from my siblings began a whole different challenge.
You're listening to the Steve Reeve Podcast from 100.5 Cruz FM.
It's time for Cruz Music News with Steve Reeve.
Foo Fighters in the news. They just played the version of Breakout, a song that they released way back on their third album, There's Nothing Left to Lose, for the first time since 2002. They were in Japan playing a gig on October 10th. Frontman Dave Grohl saying, "Hey, let's do something we haven't done in a long, long time," before the song began. Of course, footage of that is available online for you to check out. You got a spare minute. Kate Bush is giving a chance for more good things to happen thanks to her giant single Running Up That Hill that saw reinvigorated appreciation after it was featured in Stranger Things Season 4. Now, ahead of Stranger Things' final season arriving, and unrelated to that, Kate Bush is inviting 52 different visual artists to create something inspired by the song Running Up That Hill that will then be auctioned or sold to benefit War Child. Very important cause to support. Tommy Price in the news with sad news. A drummer who was famously on tour and on albums with the likes of Joan Jett, Billy Idol, and more, has died. A drummer's drummer admired by so many. He was at the age of 68. And that's it for your music news this morning. I loved all of the things that were going on over the weekend. Just a very busy one, very fun one, of course, but I do look forward to that Thanksgiving cook. And I realized during that song that I was spacing out fully, zoning completely out, completely gone, because I was thinking about the leftovers and being able to get into them for lunch again. That gravy on top of them potatoes is going to be real good. Wait, hold on. We're at work here. We still got stuff to do.
Wednesday.
Somebody who all of us have seen the works of, legendary movie poster artist Drew Struzan, died at the age of 78. The library of works is astounding. If the name doesn't sound familiar, the movies do. They just do. I mean, all of the Star Wars movies, like all of them, not even just talking about the main trilogies, talking about the weird ones too, the Battle for Endor, the Ewoks movies, Indiana Jones, of course, Back to the Future, The Thing, E.T., Harry and the Hendersons, Big Trouble in Little China, Hocus Pocus, Blade Runner, Hellboy, The Never-Ending Story, Hook, the list, it just literally goes on and on and on. Hundreds. Basically, if it's a sick painted movie poster that makes you go, wow, it was probably by Drew Struzan. So rest in peace. Oh my goodness, just learned that ChatGPT is set to allow sexy messaging and to generate erotica come December of this year. I'm not sure if that's going to be available on the free one or if you're going to have your subscription, whatever. But, if you thought people were already hook, line, and sinker sunk into using ChatGPT all the time, just say goodbye. Just, have your farewells now. They have a new soulmate. At least they will in December. One with absolutely zero soul, of course. It is already, as it stands, way too complimentary and congratulatory as it is. Like, helpful, sure. That's not the part that I think people have an issue with. It's the fact that it's like, wow, great idea. Oh, you're so smart and incredible. I'm like, cool it, all right? it is already doing too much. Imagine the machine trying to flirt with you on top of it. Too much, man.
Hey, Alexa, play the Steve Reeve podcast.
Diving into the headlines, Garbage is making a big statement fronted by the incredible Shirley Manson. They say that they are unlikely to play many cities in the U.S. ever again, particularly ones that aren't on either West or East Coast. This from the beginning of their Happy Endings tour that started in Orlando last month. And they are continuing with that momentum, now saying that there's just simply no bleeping effective union for musicians that fights for young musicians. And the state of the industry, a major concern for them. Footage of these statements while on stage are available online, of course, sometimes just shared directly from the Garbage account. Gene Simmons of Kiss, he was officially an officiant for the wedding of Charlie Benante, Anthrax drummer, and Carla Harvey of the band Butcher Babies. I guess they were engaged at the Las Vegas Sphere during a U2 concert when they had their residency there, and recently actually had their marriage take place with their officiant Gene Simmons, I think, out of makeup, probably. Was the choice. Slipknot also working on new music. Eloy Casagrande says, "We are cooking. New material is coming for sure, but no date or expectation of timeline." That's it for your music news this morning. A little bit of a shameless plug, not something I usually do, but very proud and excited about it. I've been working with a team on a documentary over the last 3 years, and finally it's time to show it. This homegrown documentary is about art and artists in Wood Buffalo, and about what they need to survive and thrive as a vital part of a northern community, a complex northern community. A world premiere screening of the documentary with a Q&A is going to be at the Suncor Energy Center for Performing Arts on the 6th of November. A little taste of the trailer.
Welcome to my $500,000 art studio here in Fort McMurray. If you want, come on in.
We came to Fort McMurray like everybody else. We're coming in on a 5-year plan. We're making our million, and we're going. Once we got here, it was a different situation.
The art scene in Fort McMurray is the reason I'm still here.
I think aspects of the arts have definitely grown in our community, and then there are some that I wish were still up to the capacity that it was.
There are no standalone arts facilities in our region. The largest recreation facility in North America has an award-winning design, and art is an afterthought.
More to come on that, and of course the big show itself is going to be on the 6th, with that being the beginning of the film festival run for the documentary, and more details, including the full trailer, linked for you at the website on the blog at cruzradio.com.
Thursday.
Alarming statement, but I think there's some truth to it. The internet is going to die if we keep up with all the AI slop, that is. The bots are bad enough. More than half of social media accounts are bots, and more than half of those bots are just arguing with people about the dumbest things you can imagine. Those are loose statistics, but they aren't incorrect. But now, more than half of the articles that are being written and published on the internet are generated by AI. We got emails that are being drafted by AI and then summarized by AI on the other end, like no actual human interaction. The awful videos, just the worst AI stuff filling my feeds, and now legitimate artists and creators are having to show their work, which is of course more work, or else they face being labeled as AI, probably by a pile of bots. So, who's going to be sticking around for that? So, the province has new license plates. What does that mean for you? Well, right now it means go have your say on the design for the new plates. The tournament of license plates continues into early November, and all of us here in the province are eligible to have our say. But know that all of the new designs are removing Wild Rose Country and adding Strong and Free, which is not only in the national anthem, but has been Alberta's official motto since 1980. Longer than I've been around. Also, all of the new designs do include a Wild Rose icon, so it's not gone completely. And honestly, all of the designs are kind of dull. But whatever, it's a license plate. They can be. Once it is all finalized, you can just wait until it's time to register again and you'll get a new plate. Or you can spend $28 to get one right away. Not right now, but once they're ready. And they say that the total cost of the implementation will be only $50,000 or so. But wait, didn't the cost of registering a vehicle go up quietly by $7 for everyone? With 3.8 million registered vehicles in the province. That's an extra 26.6 million. Well, that's just interesting more than anything else.
You're listening to the Steve Reeve Podcast from 100.5 Cruz FM.
There was a big honor in Hollywood for Def Leppard as they got their star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame 1 week ago, actually. The unveiling was on October 9th. John Bon Jovi helped induct them at that ceremony, saying he was a fan before he became a friend. They were from a working-class city called Sheffield in England, which was thousands of miles away from a place called Sayreville in New Jersey, where he hailed from. And he said, yet there was something I was drawn to, the melody, the guitars, the young guys with the audacity to put it out there in front of major recording acts and not flinch. And the boys from the band themselves, Def Leppard, said that they walked by a second time. They visited after they had the ceremony and said they were still just in complete awe. And Christmas is coming early, especially for the metalheads, because heavy singer Poppy has put out a new single, cover of Wham's Last Christmas, the 1984 absolute classic, now a much heavier rendition that was also produced by Jordan Fish of the band Bring Me the Horizon. Also, not the only release for Christmas that's got a heavy influence, the Pretty Reckless have now released the first single from what will be released as Taylor Momsen's Pretty Reckless Christmas. And the cover is the song that she sang so long ago in the 2000 film How the Grinch Stole Christmas. That would be Where Are You, Christmas? But sounds a little different these days. The actual EP of holiday songs is coming out November 14th. The K-pop Demon Hunters juggernaut continues. That movie, which started on streaming, is going to be an absolute moneymaker once again, going back to theaters for Halloween weekend sing-along. Now, this is the third instance that the movie has made it to theaters. The second time it's been a sing-along event, and it is going to be for Halloween weekend. Can't argue, pretty fitting weekend for it. I mean, it kind of fits the bill. Not to mention all the costumes parents are currently trying to fashion together for their little fanatics, their little obsessives. But damn! Just print some more money, why don't you? Those Sony pockets are going to be what's gotta be golden.
Friday.
I have respect for balloon artists, party decoration businesses, and the like. There's some hard work going on there, especially after blowing up a pile of balloons yesterday for birthday celebrations today and into the weekend. I have washed my hands several times since. Several times. But my hands still smell like rubber. It's like the whole, like, after you chop a bunch of onions thing. You're like, okay, what? No, it's still there. I got one of the kits. It's sort of like a basic kit. It came with a strip of plastic that has cutouts so that you can sort of lock the balloon knots in after you've blown up a bunch of balloons. And then you hang all of them, the bunch of balloons, all at once instead of one at a time. It seemed useful. Seemed helpful. The amount of struggle that I had with that thing can only be described as a feat of physical comedy. I felt like it was a Three Stooges routine with only one stooge present. That'd be me. Poll finds that nearly a third of adults admit to being afraid of the dark. So spooky. Now, my question is, as always, I want more information from any kind of poll. I'm like, that's not enough. But what kind of dark are we talking about here? Because if it's, lights off around the house, trying to make it to the bathroom without stubbing your toe, like, not scary. Alone on a street that you don't know with no phone and the street light just died? Okay. Certainly going to be unnerving for most people. Walking in the woods with no flashlight, no moonlight, no nothing. Legitimately scary. What was that sound? Or are we talking the black expanse of nothingness beyond our atmosphere? I mean, that's like an existentially terrifying thing for everyone, I have to imagine. We're all afraid of the dark on some level because the dark just means the unknown. But what exactly are you afraid of?
You're listening to the Steve Reeve Podcast from 100.5 Cruz FM.
Well, we've heard the news by now that the spaceman has ended up in the sky. Ace Frehley of Kiss fame and, of course, his solo work as well has died at the age of 74 following several weeks of medical issues. He was known as Spaceman as, his persona within Kiss. And the other ones, Starboy and Demon, are the people who were leading the tributes. That's, of course, Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons, reaching out to say that it was, a sad affair to say goodbye to somebody who worked so well with them. was, of course, a founding member of the band, left for a while, reunited with them in the 90s, and though they did have some contention at times, no bad blood at the moment. Alice Cooper also leading the way with tributes, saying he was a pioneer and an absolute guitar hero to so many people. He always brought it every night. Ace was an ace, he says. Meanwhile, Hayley Williams of Paramore fame is talking to industry producer legend Jack Antonoff, discussing the concert industry and how corporations seem to be monopolizing things, asking the question, why is drawing a few hundred people not an honest living? This part of a Rolling Stones Musicians on Musicians series, with more information, of course, from the entire conversation available online. Those curious? Foo Fighters finally announcing some new music. They've actually put out a teaser for a new song called About to Take Flight. There's also some suspicion from fans that they might be announcing some new shows, possibly down in South America. We'll have to wait and see. MGK is headlining the Grey Cup. This has been announced for mid-November in Winnipeg, though the gig hasn't gone to a Canadian act every year. Some people do feel that it should be a major consideration when booking the talent for the halftime show. I think it gets even more strange when you learn that Our Lady Peace is opening the event. No, I don't mean directly before MGK, before the game, before they even do the national anthem, which is going to be sung by a Métis singer from Manitoba. I think that's very, very cool. Katie St. Germain, I believe, is the name. But I'm familiar with MGK existing, but it took me a second to realize who we were even talking about. I thought, MGK, who is this? I'm familiar with him as Machine Gun Kelly, but I guess he pulled a Kanye sometime back and changed it for no reason. Sorry, that may be like an unfair and negative comparison to make. He pulled a Diddy then.
Transmission over. Want more Steve? New podcast episodes happen every Friday, or just tune into the Steve Reeve Show. Weekday mornings starting at 5:30 a.m. on 100.5 Cruz FM.